welcome Nilambari and Hina. We are pleased to have you both as the esteemed speakers for this year's Global Testing Retreat. So, can I request you to introduce yourself, whoever wants to go first?
Okay, I'll go first. I'm Nilambari Shirodkar. I have about 20 years of industry experience. Most of it has been in test and quality. I'm currently an engineering manager with IBM India Private Limited in the Pune Software Labs in the hybrid cloud division of IBM. I handle both dev, test teams, even support teams. So I started my career as a developer and have moved on to different roles, whether it's test or support or project management, release management, documentation, and even of late I'm doing product backlog grooming as part of our offering management for our current product. So, but I'm proud that I got into test at the beginning of my career and was able to spend a lot of time on test automation, product quality, and all that, which really held me in good stead, I think, throughout my career. The skills that I built up as part of being a tester, I think, have really helped me in playing all of these roles. I have also worked at Persistent Systems and RSS Security Inc. Before joining IBM. So that's about me in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Nilambari. Hina, can I request you to just give your brief introduction?
Sure. So I'm Hina Sharma and I'm working with IBM as an SVT lead. I am working with the cloud and cognitive division, and specifically I'm a part of the IBM hybrid cloud division. So as part of our role, we require to test the entire product from a system point of view, and that is where our technical skills come into play. I have been a part of organizations like IBM, Infosys, Cognizant, HCL before. And along with testing, I also like to blog a little. I'm blogging on some websites, more on women-oriented websites, and started blogging on some technical functions as well. Yeah, that's about me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nilambari and Hina, for the introduction. So, I believe you would be speaking on the topic which is known as Relish Your Journey Through Software Testing Masterchef. So, can you touch base something more on the topic and highlight something on the topic, and what would be the key takeaways for the audience who would be attending your session?
Yeah, so I would like to go first and then let Hina chime in later on. Since the abstract submission timeline came in between the lockdown following our COVID-19 pandemic, I think the most popular activity during the lockdown, I think, for people was cooking, because there was no other entertainment available, and that was the one thing people looked forward to in their day. And there were a lot of material on WhatsApp, YouTube, etc. People were trying out new recipes. And so we decided to kind of draw that analogy as the title and theme for our topic, which the category is test craftsmanship. So just like we start off in the chef journey by basic cooking skills. You start by rolling chapatis, making some basic sabjis, and then eventually you understand about the different recipes and different cuisines, and make sure that you have all the ingredients. Sometimes when, especially during the pandemic, we didn't have our stores that we frequented, and we had to make do with whatever we got. And sometimes the main ingredient was not available and we basically substituted something else. So but then the eventual quality of the dish was, we tried to make it as good as was expected by the family. So that was something, I think, the journey of a master chef that we wanted to compare with a test craftsman. And the other aspect of when you get feedback for the food that you prepare, if somebody encourages you or gives constructive feedback, I think that you are motivated to try some more things. However, if it's very negative, or very critical, then you are not too motivated by it, right? So I think a tester's job is the same one. We need to develop the soft skills also on how to give feedback constructively, so that the product stakeholders are motivated to keep making the product better and better for the customers. Hina, you would like to add anything?
Yes, sure. So as Nilambari said, right, that our main purpose of the presentation would be to bring out a tester in you. We all test, and as human beings, we have that critic nature, right? We criticize, and we try to make everything better. And test craftsmanship is all about making your skills, bringing up your skills. So we will try to touch upon that. How if you're testing the product, what do you need to see? I give you 5 scenarios. You give me all past 5 scenarios. Is that over? Is that done? Or do you need to understand the product from the customer point of view? Do you need to understand what the product owner is trying to look into the product? How do you find those lumps, those defects that are in the product that might come in at the customer environment? Have you done an analysis of your PMRs? Are you up to the technology trend that we need? Is your testing up to that grade at which your product is? Or are you still going, with the old conventional style testing? So as an overall presentation, the main purpose is to bring out that test craftsmanship, which will make you the test master chef. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Nilambari and Hina. And I think the session would be very much interesting, and you have gelled two things very well. The thing is the MasterChef thing, wherein we have various aspects of cooking, and the test craftsmanship thing. I think those two things will gel very well, and there's a lot of things which the audience would take away from your session. So, Nilambari, you mentioned that you have more than 2 decades of IT experience now. So it's like, what is your passion and what keeps you going on a daily basis? If you could add something to that.
So I am a people manager now for almost 10 years, and people are honestly my passion. Um, I draw strength, or draw a lot of energy by being around them. I try to understand them, working with them. I think trying to help solve their problems, whether they be technical or non-technical or even personal sometimes. So many of the things that I have gotten involved into, like I write a lot, by the way. So that is all based on my observation of people, my interactions and relationships with them, my learning from that. The other is astrology. So I actually started dabbling a little bit in it, not because I was curious to find out or predict future, mine or other people's, but more to understand people through those signs, or all the different disciplines of astrology that are out there. So it's just a tool that I use to understand people again. The other passion I have is learning. I think you need to keep learning all your life. You need to be an eternal student, be it technical things, be it how the industry is moving, how technology is evolving, or how our school curriculum is evolving for our kids. Anything, I mean, everything. The world is so rich. I mean, there's so much to learn, and this pandemic and extended WFH has given us a lot of opportunities through a virtual world to explore a lot of things. So those are my passions.
Thank you so much, Nilambari. I think you very well summarized things. It's like people interactions is one of the major things which help us learn a lot of things. That's very much true. So, Hina, coming to you, you mentioned about the technology trends and all those things in the topic, right? So it's like, how do you see the current technology trend evolving, and what, in your opinion, what should the current tester, or someone who has just joined the industry, should focus on?
Right. So, Harsh, as we all know, right, technology had never been changing at the pace that it is today. I learn Python today, and tomorrow I have another flavor of Python, which is much different from what it was yesterday. So, as a tester, come out of that cocoon, come out of and just don't think you are just the tester. learn more about the code. You may not need to write that code, but if you understand the code, how developers are going about developing that functionality, I think that will help you, get that extra edge as a tester. As a tester, be confident that you are as good as the product owner. You are as good as the customer. Today you have AI. Today you have ML. So we are doing an analysis on the performance degradation of an application, and we are trying to develop a machine learning model to understand what is causing those delays. The best part is the delay for one customer doesn't match with the other. So if some, if I talk more about it, if some node is causing a delay at one customer, there's another node which is causing a delay. So what we are trying to do now is we are trying to infuse AI. We are trying to bring in machine learning as part of our testing, so that what we give to the customer, we ourselves are very confident that the customer will relish it. Customer will like the product and he will come back to us applauding how well the product was tested. Because as testers, I give a sign off on the product to be launched to production. So I need to be aware what is the latest in technology that I can utilize for my product. Are there APIs which will be sending and receiving the requests? Have I ensured that from security point of view, my application is well secure? And if not, am I taking a step ahead? Am I talking to my management to understand, how we can bring that security testing into our product? So that is what I'm talking about when I talk about the technology trend. That be aware of the latest. Don't think you are just a tester. You built your automation framework. You've given the URL to your application there and it is run and your application is well tested. Well, it's not. Because at customer end, things are different. And with changing technology, your customer demands much more. So understand what customer wants, understand what technology is today. Fusion of both the things will give you the product that everyone is looking for.
Very well said, Hina. I think today's tester needs to be as versatile as he could be, so that he is not just bound by just one thing, but he or she is following the latest technology trends and picking up the new areas and the new technologies which are coming up in the market.
Exactly.
So coming to Nilambari once again, Nilambari, you mentioned that you write a lot as well. So it's like, do you read a lot as well? Because it's like for writing a lot, you need to read a lot. So if you can say what is your favorite book or who is your favorite author or something like that.
Yeah, so I do read a lot, and it's not any specific genre that I read. I pretty much read everything. In my young age, I used to read a lot of novels, and nowadays it's mostly online stuff and technical documentations, and trying to keep up with the evolving trends in industry and technology. Those kind of reading is happening more. But yeah, in my growing up years, I was very fond of all the classics. And I mean, even though I have read a lot more serious stuff since then, my favorite book remains The Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And so it is actually set in a very old British background, and where, for a woman, I mean, she was kind of the second class citizen at that time. The males were the predominant ones, and the main ambition for women was to get them married off to a good family and have her established there. And the protagonist in this novel, who's a woman, and one out of five sisters actually in her family, uh, and the man who's interested in her actually uh, proposes to her first time, but then she refuses him, which is pretty daring or bold for that time. And then eventually how they keep interacting with each other, and he finally dares to propose to her a second time and she accepts. So this whole having this set up in that old background where women were not given so much importance, there was a lot of class divide. The male came from a higher class than the female, and um, uh, I think all the characters have been so well etched, even the hero and heroine. So he's proud and she's prejudiced. That's why I think the book is called Pride and Prejudice. So good learning there, I feel, and the authoress Jane Austen really writes very well, I felt. There have been a few authors. J.K. Rowling currently was my favorite, the Harry Potter series author. I'm a very avid Harry Potter fan, and so is my daughter now. So the way she brought out the whole parallel world of wizards and witches, their entire 7 year school curriculum and different subjects in that and different teachers. Every character is so well etched. The drama is so well drawn out. I think she did a really good job. I really hope to be an author like her one day and want to publish my book.
Surely, surely. I think you would be also writing a book soon, and you would be one of the great authors, I believe. So, certainly. So, Hina, coming to you. So, it's like you have been working in the leadership positions for quite some time now, and you must have come across various leaders in these years. So, would you like to share that any mistake that a leader or someone who had committed and you would not like to do the same? Or you can share some experience on that side.
Sure, sure. Yeah, so my journey has been like this. I started as a module lead, QA lead, and then the offshore lead, and then I came back to my individual contributor role. Again, I'm back to the leadership role. So, and during this period, entire period of my IT industry, I have worked with few leaders who've been really an inspiration, but few whom we always thought, I wish he was a little better. So one aspect that I think, which I feel that one of my leaders whom I've worked with had made was that he didn't understand the very fact that, along with project deliverables, an individual will have his own, aspirations as well. And when we have to make sure that we have a balance between the two. The moment one of them goes up and down, there's a dissatisfaction that comes in. That gap should not be there. At least you should try as a leader. So for me, I make sure that I keep talking to my team members, and we discuss things. And if they want to do a certification, I go back to my manager. If at all I feel that there's something in my team that a team member wants to do something different, or they have their own aspirations. We try not to block those aspirations. We try to support those aspirations, at the same time making sure that our project deliverables are not affected. So as a leader, I think you should not lose or leave that human touch which is needed. And as Nilambari rightly said, that as a manager's job, people management job, you have humans working with you. You don't have robots working with you today. So that is one thing that I would like every leader to be aware of. Even if the CEO of an organization or a very low level leader, but then they need to understand their people. They need to understand their aspirations and help them grow however they can.
So I would also like to add here something, Harsh, if that's fine.
Sure. Go ahead.
So I would like to say that the test function sometimes is looked at as a second-class function as compared to the dev one or architect one, and in some organizations, and people who are not very strong programmers are basically the ones who get kind of slotted in that role. And if at all they show any spark later on, they move to other roles and grow into other career. But I feel that starting your career as a test person, there's a lot a tester can add value, and if he or she is mentored well by a very good senior, I think they can make a lot of difference to the overall quality and processes followed in the project team, and it should not be dismissed as a non-important function, I feel. So I feel very passionately about it, actually. The more attention people give to test and quality, I think the better their entire development cycle and their customer delight would be. because the test is such a function that they interact with build and DevOps development, the end user or customer, and the offering management or product owner, other stakeholders. So their role is so varied. They interact with so many people. The kind of tests that they do, or the kind of skills that they basically go over the breadth of the product. They're not limited to any particular thing. I think if they are guided well, they can be great value additions to the team, and not something that you have to have as one discipline.
I think you have added it very beautifully, and that's what leadership is all about, right? You enable your team and everyone so that they contribute well and reach the next level. That's what a leader should do, right? He should be an enabler. That's what it's all about. So, Nilambari, one last thing that I would like to ask you is like, would you like to add something about your hometown, one special thing or one special memory that you have from your hometown? So are you from Pune or someone else?
No, I'm not from Pune. That's why I was asking you, Harsh, if you are from Gujarat, because I am originally from Baroda, Gujarat. So my entire education happened there. Yeah, I mean it's as you know a royal town, as in they had a royalty there, the Gaikwads, and they have that famous Lakshmi Vilas Palace, which is pretty beautiful. And it's a small city with a lot of exposure, very cosmopolitan. I think the one thing that stayed with me was the Garba, which used to happen then during Navratri, since we are almost into Navratri now this year. And so there were a couple of clubs there which were very popular, and people used to, die to get a pass for the 9 days for that particular club and go into the Garba or Dandiya there. And I really loved them. Those were very special memories that I had.
Thank you so much, Nilambari, for sharing that. So incidentally, we are starting with Navratri from tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. And
Right.
this year, the festival is much more different than that we have been celebrating for over the years now. Yes. Thank you so much. I think Nilambari and Hina for your time and sharing your views about the topic and such diverse set of things. So we are glad that you are the speakers at this year's conference, and we are really looking forward for your session. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Harsh.